Hey guys, I want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? That's how they Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast from the Cubs room. A cheering crowd in the background.
There's no one cheering today for the Cubs. Go Jays.
Gotta love it. We got the Blue Jays in here today. Woo! So we've had the Mariners, we got the Blue Jays. I don't remember who else we've had here. You did not have the matching shirt. You got to get you one of these.
I'll never wear that, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Even if it's a blue.
Hey, you look like a tablecloth on me anyway. So.
Right, there you go. Cool. All right, I'm going to introduce my guest in just a second. Before I do that, I got to do my shameless self-promotional stuff. First of all, visit bwasap.com. You can reach all of our connection to all of our podcasts, my photography, all that good stuff. You might even find something out about this guy. There's a link to my page to this guy who's going to tell you what he's running for in just a minute. But also, we're still promoting the book by Shannon Williams, Pastor Shannon Williams, Revelation Unlocked. You can get that on Amazon. It's a great study book on Revelation. Anyway, look at how serious he looks. Oh wait, I covered his face up. He looks so serious there, doesn't he? Okay, cool. All right. But anyway, Revelation Unlocked, get that online. I think that's all I got to do. No preliminary stuff. Everything's good. So let me introduce my guest, Commissioner Chad Brown. How you doing, buddy?
Man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I hate to be the 51st person on here, but hey, I'm taking it. But thank you for the invitation. It means a lot to be able to come on and do something with you, my friend. And this is something where you have, and friendships go a long way. And I just appreciate you. Thank you for what you do. I
appreciate you. And it's not actually 51. I think it's like 39. So we'll get you back in here for 50.
240, 241. Who's counting, right?
Right. There you go. Cool. All right. Well, I know this guy, but you guys out there watching need to know this guy. So he's going to tell you exactly who Chad Brown is.
I'm Chad Brown. I'm a Gaston County native. I've been here my whole entire life, 51 years of just pure glory in what's happening in our world. I love being from Gaston County. I love this. I played professional baseball for a while. As you well know, I was the mayor of Stanley here, and then turned around and became the county commissioner for your last 13 years and really enjoyed that. And now I'm taking a new adventure with the Lord to go out and find out about the Secretary of State. And I get to travel North Carolina, and I've got to find this is God's country. And when you think about the mountains, the ocean, the blue skies, the things that happen, the 29 seasons in one day. Right. But it's just a great place to live, and I'm very proud to say I'm from Gaston County.
Awesome, and we're glad to have you representing us as well, and hopefully representing us soon in the state office. How about that?
Well, hopefully that'll be our next goal.
We're pulling for it, so great, cool. All right, and I think the camera is angled a little bit, so I hope you guys don't mind.
It's just because I'm just waiting on one side.
this elaborate setup that we have for the studio here. So.
I think the problem is all this cut stuff really kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Well, if you haven't gone back, you got to watch the one with Pat Harrigan because he's so tall.
Oh wow!
And it's like this on the screen, literally. I mean, I'm like, it looks really weird.
And Pat's a great guy.
I appreciate
thank you for his service.
I appreciate you not being way taller than me, just a little bit.
I'm
taller.
ducking down trying to get you there.
All right, thanks. All right, let's jump right into the questions here. So, tell everyone out there, when did you first realize the importance of becoming a godly man?
Well, I tell you, it's kind of twofold, I guess I want to say. Okay. The first time you get sent away, and I say that is not. I got sent to camp with my church, and you don't have your mom there, you don't have your dad there, and all of a sudden it's kind of that you got to rely on someone. Right. But obviously we were a church event, so we got to learn a lot about the Lord. And I look back at my life and I say, hey, these are some things that changed my life, and there's people in my life that guided me and who were godly people.
Sure.
And I think when you're not hanging out with godly people, you get trying to stray off from that, and that's where some of those things really helped me. And the one person I ever want to disappoint is my mother, and so they all knew that. So I guess they kind of checked in. And then I guess when you really want to think about your convictions, when you have children, when you think about how you want to have your children raised and by who, and there's nothing better of life to see your children get baptized into the faith. And so we've been very blessed.
That's awesome. That's cool. So in that process, obviously your mother must have been a great inspiration to you. Is that who you're going to say is your biggest inspiration?
That's the biggest. And you talked about the top 5.
Sure,
and we looked at that, and it's really not number 1 because I use her as last. But my mom has meant everything to me. Mm-hmm. My mom has been the rock of salvation. She led me to the Lord. Yeah. She made sure that we had everything we needed in a guidance and keep us on that path. And she got it from her mother and father. And so when you look at the things that happen, those are all pieces of the puzzle that when they all comes together, it's pretty nice. Yeah, and sure. I have to thank my mother, and she's been a great role model.
Awesome, that's cool, that's great. So that's your biggest one. Well, we'll go on to the other ones in just a minute here. So
sorry.
Yep, no, you're good. So all right. So you put it all together. You head to camp. You got miraculously sent you in the right direction to become a godly man. Now you're doing things. You're doing awesome things, in my opinion. Where do you think you're most effective in affecting other lives? I know you got the baseball and you got other stuff going on, but how do you apply what God's doing in your life?
Such a difficult question because the humble man wants to say, "Hey, I just want to walk in the way of the Lord."
Right.
And when you have people who you can influence or you can inspire to do things, really starts with my children.
Yeah. I
want to make sure my children have a person they can look to say, "Hey, this is a role model for some guidance."
Yeah.
I understand there's things that happen in children's lives that you really, you hope you can be there for when there's difficult situations, but it's hard. Yeah. Our children challenge us every day. Yeah. But I think when you talk about in the world of politics or baseball, whatever you want, which one you want to use, there's people out there who need you as well.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody today, I got the opportunity to meet some people, and one of the things we lead off with is talking about our faith and how it's guided us in doing things. And we always talk about, our religious backgrounds, but we never talk about the people who made us to get to that point. Sure. And those are all the people when they have something happens to make you have to do that, whether it be a worldly view or something. In politics, we have a lot of people call us about different issues. Yeah. People who want to social media keyboard you. Yeah. There's a lot.
Know about that, don't we?
Well, it's not to be belittling, but the thing is, you have to have compassion for people. Sure. And when you can show compassion and love, and just a relationship that says, "Hey," it doesn't always have to be fighting. Right. We can disagree, and we disagree, on the Cubs and stuff and whatever. You still get a banana Laffy Taffy every year, and yeah. And it's just tradition, not for me. Yeah. It's because I want to show what. You mean something when you get to do things, and you're riding around with the stuff on your car. That's stuff that I have a lot of people who want to do it, but not a lot of people follow through with it.
Well, hey, that's what you got to do. That's what people, godly men, and I like what you said a minute ago. Humble men don't go out and announce the godly things they're doing. Not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is show that godly men are doing the godly things, and so it makes it hard sometimes to explain and express that and bring that out. But that's the important thing, because there's people out there, not just men, there are women that watch the podcast too, that are sitting out there going, what do I need to do? What should I do? Where is God leading me? And they need to be following that direction so that when you get down that road, you can look back and say, okay, I did what God wanted me to do, what God led me to do. So
I think the opportunities we have is the ones we can't miss. Think about how many opportunities do you have in your lifetime that you can influence or be a person of influence to help someone get to that, because you never know what anybody's going through in life. And sometimes you run upon things that you look back upon and you say, wow, that was really different for me, but how it impacted somebody, and I had another person for the one of the darkest parts of my life, when I went and did some things and trying to figure out where I was, going, and that person really helped me get through some struggles. And you need people. You need people to lift you up. You need a support group. But I think the biggest thing is when you find those people, you got to hang on to them. You got to keep them close and make sure, they used to talk about close and clean. And, that's why that repentance every day, it has to come from your heart, and you can do that.
Yeah. Well, and like you said before, there just keyboarding the keyboard, whatever you call them.
Right.
People see stuff like that and they see the negativity, but what you got to remember is there's a whole lot more positive people around you, and that's what you have to draw off of, I think. So
I think the approach as well. You think about, if we're baseball terms, if we're going to the plate and we're trying to hit home runs every time, we're going to struggle.
Right.
If we go up and we're just saying, hey, as long as I don't strike out, as long as I don't, as long as I can move a run or whatever, that's the little things in life we look for, is how we can influence somebody. We have a lot of people who care about our communities.
Yes.
We do a lot of things with those type of ideals, but there's a lot of good people in this world.
There are.
And when you see one, the smile of a Christian man or a Christian woman who can sit there and say, hey, I love you or whatever, and it be taken with compassion of the life that they may be struggling with. We have to really figure it out.
Yep, absolutely. So, and be encouraging to them as well. So cool. All right, great. So you mentioned one of your, so you're going to do the five people. Is that right?
Yeah, I did the 5 people. And
okay.
Sorry.
All right. So no, you're good. You got
hold
it.
on. Let me get this. I got to figure what I'm doing here.
Here's what I tell people. I'm a note-taking guy. I don't have to take notes here because I'm interviewing. So this is great for me. It's perfect, because if you were interviewing me, I would have all my notes sitting right here. So
like I said, you just don't want, like I said, the biggest thing is when you don't have notes, you leave people out.
Don't want to miss somebody.
And I'll tell you, one of the biggest influences in my life growing up was our preacher, Johnson Dorn.
Okay.
He was a young pastor who he came from South Carolina with a vision that he was going to grow a church. And he started working on a church that basically had a lot of elders in the church who was, and when a man comes in with a vision and tries to help, there's some pushback, but I'm going to tell you, he was a godly man.
Nice.
And he was somebody who didn't just, he invested. He didn't have children, but he invested in the children that was in the church. And when he did, just a small story about him, we laughed because we had children's church Sunday, to where we had to have the children led the service, and I ended up being the pastor that day, which was funny. So I tried to dress like him, and we got to laughing. But the problem was, I had my 3 points and I was doing everything, but the 3 points I had 2 different sermons, so I didn't know which one I wanted to preach. So ended up, I preached both sermons in about 7 minutes, and we left early for so everybody was happy. But it was just something. But people who are inspiring to your life, and we had a great youth group at that time as well with Brooks, and so a lot of people were really invested.
Nice.
And not just myself and our youth group. So that's a lot of the things. The second one, and this is going to be big when you get into, you talk about grandmothers, but my grandmother Merle, my mother's mother, she would always sit in the same pew at church. She would always be sitting there before you walked in,
right.
And she would always greet you with, "Hey, love."
Hey, love.
And "Hey, love."
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
You see that, and I talked to my mom about it last night, and I talked to my cousin Todd Kinlaw. He started crying, because you start thinking about that. You start thinking about the people who taught you about the Lord. But she used to have a half stick of gum.
Yeah.
I don't know how many half sticks she had in her Bible, but there was always a half stick of gum for you for your breath or whatever. So we got to laughing. But she was always an inspiration.
Nice.
And she raised my mother to be a good Christian lady, and they always had to be at church. They walked to church right around the corner. And but she was a great lady, and we truly miss her.
Nice, yeah.
And that half stick of gum. But hey,
great
love.
Inspiration, right? Yeah.
One of the other, and this goes back because I probably get in trouble with people watching this.
He didn't mention me.
But it could be you. But like I said,
listen.
Like I said, if there's some honorable mentions in here, because I mentioned this guy.
Yeah.
And my current pastor will get upset, but it's somebody in our church right now. I went through something when I was going through in my life, and Jeff Watts, he's a pastor counselor at Flint Groves, and Jeff, first day, I don't even think he'd been hired yet. I think he was in transition.
Oh, wow.
And he got, "Hey, look, there's Chad." And
wow.
so, but he helped me through life, and he helped me do a lot of things. But one thing he asked me to do, he just said love on him, love. And then he always appreciated love. And I always watched that. And it's been 10 years since I've met Jeff, because I know that because this week in church, we ended up honoring for 10 years. So he's been an inspiration in our life, as well as our pastor, Ronnie Bowers now. Ronnie does a lot of good in our community, who is a humble man as well, trying not to push out things. But it's crazy when you see the people in the path you weave.
Yep.
But the next person was somebody who changed my life forever. And went from the cocky, high school baseball player who thought he knew everything to
you or him.
It was, trust me, it was me. And there's a story behind this. And people don't know what the Lord's about, and He'll never give you more than you can handle. But I promise you this: He'll test you on to see what you think. Because
totally agree.
All I ever wanted to do was play professional baseball. That's all I wanted to do. I got drafted out of high school, and my mom was well, I want to go to college. You need to go to college. You need to go to college. And I thought I was worth a couple $1 million, and the Cleveland Indians didn't think that. And the funny thing was, 7 times they came to my house and to try to lock down a contract. They wanted somebody young. It's just part of what it's a business. It's not anything.
No, right.
And so I turned it down.
Wow.
And the thing when I turned it down, I had no alternative as a secondary plan because I knew I was going to get drafted. I knew I was going to go play professional baseball.
Yeah.
And then all the scholarships that I had were basically to 4-year schools. And so my mom said, let's just pray about it. And I'll never forget her sitting down with me and praying with the Cleveland Indians people and me, and whether it was going to happen later on or whatever, but we prayed. Wow. And the very next day, a man came into my life by the name of Rusty Strapp. He's a pastor now, but he was my college baseball coach, and he was at Appalachian. He left to go to North Greenville. I went to North Greenville sight unseen. Wow. And that changed my life as well. Rusty taught me how to be a man. He taught me how to be away from my mama. He taught me a lot about the things that you discipline. He taught me about country music of all things. But the thing when Rusty, good or bad, sometimes, but one thing that he taught me was, you're going to be in your own lane, and you're going to have to steer that ship every how you get there, and the choices that you make are always going to define that path you take. And I tell you, he was awesome. He taught me baseball. He taught me my life love. And then he taught me a love of the Lord. He taught me a love of who I was. And I watched him discipline 25 men to try to cultivate us to one goal. And just an awesome man. And now he's a pastor of a church. Oh, cool. After he retired from Gardner Webb. So he was a big, big inspiration. And but my last one goes, it goes to my mom. Yep. She was I can't say enough about her. Everybody who knows Roxy knows she's loud like me, and she talks a lot. But one of the things that happened with that,
she's proud of you too.
Well, I tell you, and I don't give her enough credit for the love I have, but she's been there for a lot of people. Not just you talking about walking in God's faith and the things that she's there. I mean, she is the most godly woman I've ever seen. She helps others. She gives to others, and she's so unselfish. Matter of fact, she allowed me to come here today. She came and picked up Luke from school.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
So when you think about the things, Mom. And so you think about the things, and some of us don't have our moms anymore. I don't have my dad anymore. But you look back, and I'm just so thankful that she worked her tail off as a single parent to make sure she raised me and my sister in a godly fashion. And every Sunday morning, 8:00, no matter what, that phone will ring, and she just says, "Hey, just want to give you that reminder.
For church.
I'll see you at church." And so she's a little different. She don't give the half stick of gum. She gives the whole piece. And but my mom is a great lady, and I could never say so. I'm very, very, very pleased to say she's my mom. Yeah. A lot of people want to adopt her, so that's as well. But she cooks and she cleans very well. If you ever bring her, she don't come over that much anymore. She goes, but.
You haven't talked her back in.
She's the most unselfish person I've ever met. Nice. I mean, in my entire life. I know that's my mom, but she's the most unselfish person I can say that I've ever been around because she always is giving to others. She's been doing Meals on Wheels for the homebound and things in our church since I've been around. Yeah. And so
it's a great example.
I love you, Mom. Hope you understand.
That's a great example. Well, she should watch this and she should share this.
Well, she will. She might agree with all the things that happen.
The moms usually do watch. The moms and the dads.
Right.
Yeah. So Scott Sheehan's dad is one of our biggest podcasts.
Well, he grew up in my neighborhood.
Well, there you
we
go.
all grew up in the same neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
2 houses down.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
So-
gotcha. Well, you're a little younger than he is, so
Not much though, but I mean, hey, thanks a lot. You're trying to put me trying to give me some AARP
I said
lessons.
a little younger, right? A little bit.
Those
younger.
AARP lessons don't come free.
I know, right? No, I know that. So yeah, but you're right about looking back. I mean, I'll be 61 in December, but it's like you look back.
Oh, you're 20 years older than me.
Isn't that crazy? 20 years. You're right. You just said he was 51.
Hey, whoa!
He said 51, right? But anyway, so you look back and you do see how all those pieces fit together and how those people make a great difference. So that's awesome. Cool. Now, before we get to our sports-related story, first I have to give you your wonderful parting gifts. If you've seen the podcast, you already know. So I will know whether or not you've ever seen a podcast by your response to these. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not holding you. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. First is the bottle of Mr. Bill Ward Photography hand sanitizer. Highly valuable, extremely expensive, and I'm trying to get rid of 3 boxes of it. So that's your first parting gift. Your second parting gift, which was so cool because you actually saw one, on this wall with 15,000 cards, he actually saw, because I do have one of my cards posted on the wall. Willie Ace, I will autograph this, so when you walk out of here, it'll be worth exactly what it was worth when you walked out of here. So, which is absolutely nothing. But anyway, I will autograph the official Willie Ace baseball card. And you also get to choose a Lego superhero before you leave. And you say, why a Lego superhero?
As long as it doesn't have one of those Cubs outfits, we're all right.
And you say, why a Lego superhero?
Why a Lego
There you go. You
superhero?
got it. Good. Okay, the reason is because, number one, it's STEM. Science, technology, engineering.
Right.
You have to build it. So we build Legos robots in my classes, and so this is the engineering part. But we also believe that the men that come on the greater purpose are superheroes. So we want to make sure that they walk away with a superhero. So you get to choose. You can have Thor.
Maybe the other 38 were, and there's the one I'm choosing right there.
You want Superman.
Superman.
You got Superman. Cool. And you do not have to build it in here. So, oh, wait. And before we do that, I got to do this. Is for Jerry Whitlock. He gave me Mr. Rogers, and I don't know why. Let's see what he has to say today.
You've made this day a special day.
That's right.
Just your being you.
Isn't that great?
There you go.
Cool. Now,
And Jerry knows that as well.
and Jerry does know that. See, that's wonderful. I love it. Thank you, Mr. Rogers, and thank you, Jerry Whitlock. So now you're going to give us you probably have thousands of sports stories, I'm sure. So I don't know how you narrowed this down to one, but give us your favorite sports-related story.
Well, I think the stories that you have, like I said, I batted this back and forth on how, and I sent you one because I wanted you to see it. So, obviously, every time you go out to pray, or to play, pitch and do things, you come out, you want to do your best, you want to try these things. And so I always was praying, hey, Lord, just give me the strength and the courage to be able to get through this. And the hated Yankees, we can agree we hate the Yankees. But we got into a brawl with them.
Oh, wow.
And in baseball, it's part of your job is to just hold somebody by the shirt or maybe take a few swings, but it's not but David and Goliath, but sometimes things happen.
Yeah. And
they had a particular person who went around. It's in the book, Small Town Heroes. If you ever want to read about it, it talks about it as this gentleman went around and was sucker punching and doing things to people that was kind of, not right, but obviously different culture they grew up in. They didn't grow up in the same culture, not even the same country. And so I always vowed I was going to get back.
Oh.
I was going to get vengeance is mine, says Chad.
Okay.
And
right.
So it'd be funny. So we went out to the game, and it's the first time we ever got to see them again since that place. Yeah. And everybody knew, and I was the hardest thrower on the team, and we're trying to do things. And I vowed, I said, I'm going to get this guy back. Mm-hmm. And so the first one, I missed, and the second, and I'm looking over in our dugout, and I'm mad, because I done missed him with 2 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. And the next thing you know, our manager's doing this. And the whole time he's doing that, I just, I don't care. I'm getting this. Vengeance is mine, saith Chad Brown at the time.
So he's telling you to stop.
And he was right. And so the next one, I threw it up and in, and I looked over, and I never forget, I walked off the mound, and I said, I'm getting this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw him one right down the middle. He hit about 8 miles. And when he went around the bases, he looked at me and he said, that's right. And so that's when I had to go back and look and say, vengeance is not mine.
Got you back.
Saith the Lord.
Yeah,
so, and it is just a story, you know, but there's plenty of them.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, I got many.
I knew you probably did, but I like
there's
that
a lot.
one. But that's good.
But, you know, because it ties in, but
sure it does.
it's in the book. It talks about, I used to use.
Small town heroes.
I used to always say the mound was my pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be always, you know, I always thought about this. So it's not, this godly conversation didn't happen because this is in a book from the 1990s. And, you know, I looked at that scenario and I look back upon it now and I say, hey, how could I have handled that different? I should have just went out and tried to strike him out and give him 3 of my best pitches rather than the one where he's going to say, let me see it fly, you know? And so, but it is. And
it's a lesson.
You learn a lot. And
God used your own pride to turn it around and teach you a lesson.
I don't know if it was pride at that time when someone there's no worse feeling than somebody running around the bases who basically done something to you and you were trying to show them so bad of how strong you were, how cocky you were at the time. Yeah. And the difference was it was made that day and it really humbles you as a person. I hate to say that, it's not obviously we're talking about the godly man, but it's in the book and it talks about it.
Okay, cool. Have to check that out. So good deal. All right, great. Well, listen, thank you everybody for being here for the Greater Purpose Podcast. Make sure you click like, make sure you share, send us comments, do that kind of stuff. Get the word out there. And we've got a lot of great men that have been on here to share their godly inspirations and stuff like that. And I want to thank my friend Chad Brown for being here today. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
All right. God bless you, man. And God bless you. Take care.